Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. What are the latest happenings in the world of sports? We start off with Test cricket, where Australia have defeated New Zealand by 172 runs and have now taken a lead of 1-0. The second Test match will be played from the 8th of this month. It was a phenomenal performance from Team Australia. We did talk about the fact that New Zealand is lacking the ability that we saw. I understand that, a lot of reliance was there on Kane Williamson, but really the batting had nothing to prove against this Australian bowling lineup. 179 and then 196 all out in the second innings as well. Below par scores when you're playing against Australia. So I think we've got to talk about this. Rachin Ravindra, the only performer who was able to perform with the bat. He scored 59 in the second innings. Otherwise, there was nothing. Of course, Kane Williamson run out in the first innings. Second inning also making 9 only. Opening also not clicking. So I think with the bat, there wasn't enough support for the New Zealand lineup. When you talk about Australia's bowling, Nathan Lyon picking up 6 wickets yet again, and phenomenal. 4 in the first, so a 10-wicket haul for him as well, and he's just been superb throughout Test cricket. And I think we always talk about that if anyone wants to gauge a player in Test cricket, a spinner particularly, then Nathan Lyon is the case to study. So we talk about that. Australia's dominance continues. Then of course we move on and we discuss Ireland versus Afghanistan's Test match, where Ireland beat them by 6 wickets. This is their first victory in Test cricket history. Earlier they lost to they of course lost 7 Test matches before this as well. So I think credit to Ireland, because not only they won their first ever Test match, but they also won in conditions which were supposed to be favourable for the host Afghanistan in the UAE. So I think surprising that the results have not turned out in their favour. Afghanistan would of course be disappointed, because that T20 brand of cricket has been popularised so much for them that now in Test cricket I think they're struggling to find their way. So we've got to talk about that, because once you have the status of a Test nation, you really need to work on it as well, because the competition is tough. A lot of teams are coming up the ranks as far as associate nations are concerned as well, and you don't want to lose this Test status. So I think it's very important that you invest in infrastructure development, grassroots cricket, and the longer format of the game as well. Then we move on and we discuss the 18th National Women's Baseball Championship, where Army and Wabda have qualified for the finals. Wabda won 17-6 against the team of Higher Education Commission. So of course congratulations to both of these teams, and stellar performance in a stellar tournament as well. Baseball has found a lot of infrastructure in Pakistan, and especially women's side as well. I think it's a great omen to see as well. And then of course we move on to the 18th National Women's Championship as well. And then of course we also talk about the 43rd National Kabaddi Championship, which has been postponed. Matches will now be starting from 5th as well. The final and third place match is going to be played on the 8th due to some logistical issues, whatever you want to call it. These have been rescheduled now. This is the 43rd National Kabaddi Championship, so we'll talk about that in detail as well. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by cricket commentator, international broadcaster and presenter, and our sports expert, Asif Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum, Asif. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm perfect, and hopefully you're doing well.
I'm very well as well. Great to have you as well. Also joining Asif is first-class cricketer, cricket expert as well. He's a voice on many platforms, Kashif Majid. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, sir?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you, Ahmed.
Great to have you on the show. We've also been joined by cricket expert and analyst Sabir Hussain. Assalamu alaikum, Sabir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm fine, thank you.
Great to have you on the show as well. Now, Asif, we talked about the dominance of Australia across formats. There was a lot to be said, and we discussed a lot of particulars. But now I think for New Zealand's sakes, let's be honest, it was very disappointing. Even in the second innings, they found no footing as far as batting is concerned, and Nathan Lyon was brilliant once again.
Ahmed, I would like to talk about, first of all, the Australia's performance. Congratulations to Australia, and the question why they are so good in each format, either it's T20, it's Test cricket or ODI. Let's talk about their powerful mindset. Let me give you an example of the first innings, that Cameron Green was joined by the Josh Hazlewood for the 10th wicket partnership. They got 100 runs. Not only this, in the second innings, when they got out a couple of wickets early on, Nathan Lyon joined the party, and he made 41 on 45 deliveries, and the way he was playing to the most important bowlers of the New Zealand, that was amazing. So I think that this is the mindset, the powerful mindset makes Australia different from other countries. Let's talk about the New Zealand cricket. Their batters were struggling. Even their top batters like Kane Williamson was not in the form. But these two players like Nathan Lyon and Cameron Green, and that's why Australia have won this test match. So I think that the rest of the world, and especially the Pakistanis, would have to understand that this is how you play. You got the responsibility from the team. You are playing for your nation. You are playing for your country. And it does not matter. It's number 10, number 5, number 6, number 1. It's not the debate. You got a role. It's number 10. Josh Hazelwood was playing with Cameron Green. You got most important 100 runs and you got a lead, very good lead. And then Nathan Lyon joins the party in the second innings and he done fabulously with the bat. So I think that this mindset is a champion mindset, and that's why Australians are the champions.
Well, I think on technical grounds as well, we need to explore why New Zealand was struggling. So, Kashif, this becomes a very important argument that when you look at the team of Australia and you look at the team of New Zealand, there are two teams that prioritize all formats. But, particularly we expected New Zealand to give them a bit of a challenge as far as batting was concerned.
I'm not sure, Ahmed, about the preparation of the wicket, what they have thought before preparing that wicket, because it's a ragged turner, it's a square turner. I've seen Glenn Phillips bowling those balls against the left-hander who actually ended up in the first slip. So maybe they were trying to dismantle Australia through their spin, but they have got Nathan Lyon in their ranks. Maybe it is an underprepared wicket because they still New Zealand are not the side who can defeat Australia with their spin net. So most probably this wicket is not the New Zealandish wicket, it's something else, and this cost them a lot. And when we talk about the first inning, they have had Australia on the ropes, but excellent innings from the Cameron Green, well supported by the tail-enders, and this is where Australia is so special. Every now and then we see Australia going down and on the ropes, but suddenly we can see a magical performance from one of their players, and again Australia is on the top. So most probably this has much to do with the psyche of those players than the skill set they have got. It's the heart versus the brain when we talk about Australia, and they have got a big heart and as well as a big brain. So most probably for me, Australia in this test match is they won this test match just because they are the side which wanted to win World Test Championship once more.
I think that's particular, but once again I would agree, because I think you would have expected a turner like this if you would have believed that your spin is going to totally dismantle the Australian side, and let alone that Australian side who has performed exceptionally well in all parts of the world. So I think that Kashif mentions a very important point. But Sabir, obviously we talk about the dominance of the way Nathan Lyon performed as well, but then again we talk about the brilliant captaincy of Pat Cummins in Australia. I mean, they were able to outclass New Zealand in all aspects, starting from the very first innings.
It is, there was a hell of a difference as far as the overs being played. Between Australia and New Zealand. In the first inning, basically Australian batsmen, they basically played 150 overs. But as far as the New Zealand batting were concerned, they basically bundled out under 44 overs. They should have played better. They have the luxury of Daryl Mitchell, the technically sound batsman, along with Tom Latham and Ken Williamson as well. They should have played better, but they basically got the run rate of 4 point something, but they were basically nowhere near. They basically bundled out in less than 44 overs. Then in the second inning, they had a chance to to wrap up Australian batting lineup. But it was unfortunate to see such kind of bowling performance by Neil Wagan. It was last test, a very emotional moment for him. He should have picked up a couple of wickets. Thanks to Glenn Maxwell, basically he picked up 5 wickets. He's basically a wicket keeper, a wonderful fielder as well, batsman, bowler as well. So you can expect everything. He's basically a team man, Glenn Phillips. But heads off to Australia. They batted really well, especially in the first inning. That was the difference. Cameron Green, he made a remarkable 174. That was basically the difference. This is what Tim Southee was saying. The Cameron Green was the difference in between, in this particular test match. Heads off to Nathan Lyon. He's basically a wonderful bowler for Australia for so many years. He basically picked up 5 almost in 9 countries. It's remarkable to see such kind of a career he is having. And Australia, by the way, basically the way they are dominating, they have basically won 412 test matches and then 392 by England. So this is wonderful to see such kind of a performance from Australia for over the years. I mean, that is the reason they are basically sincere with the longer format of this particular cricket. I mean, to rest of Australia, and not to forget the captaincy of Pat Cummins. I mean, he is contributing something with the bat, with the ball as well. Field setting as well, bowling changes. So he is a remarkable leader, I would say.
Absolutely, and I think that model has been very successful since that leadership, was given to Pat Cummins, because we got to appreciate the structure as well, Asif, and the support that he's gotten as well. I think he's an individual that is, I think, widely respected amongst the Australian community.
Well, Ahmed, that's right. And the way Pat Cummins were leading his side has been remarkable. Let's talk about his captaincy when you're talking about, and I will give you 3 examples. The way he was using his spinner, especially Nathan Lyon, and he trapped 3 batters. Kashif will definitely talk about them because he's a first-class cricketer. And I would like to ask this question to him as well. First of all, Tom Latham, that wasn't an extraordinary delivery from Nathan Lyon. He went for a cut shot, but straight then a top edge and straight to the wicket keeper, and it was a very sharp edge, but nicely taken by the wicket keeper. The number 2, I will talk about the Kane Williamson. He was bowling from round the stumps and delivering on the middle, and then he went for a flick shot straight to the leg slip.
You don't expect somebody like him to do that.
Yes, yes, but that was a trap. If you see that the way Kane Williamson was playing, that he is superb with his technique. Each and everything is perfect. Why he was struggling just because of the spin and bowling from round the stumps. And then the third one is the Rachin Ravindra. Once again, equally good with the technique, though he's young, he's learning, but he was trapping him, coming up around the stumps and bowling away from his body and compelling him to play the cut shot, and that went straight to the point. So I think 100% marks to Pat Cummins and his team, the way they made a plan and then they executed well, and they knocked out New Zealand in each department.
Plan, is always successful when it is executed right, and Australia have got that credit as well. But technically analyzing that dismissal, Kashif, because I saw that first run out as well. It was just horrible the way both of the batters collided with each other and ended up Williamson being run out. That was, I think, foolish on Williamson's end, because he should have been running from the other side of the wicket, not the opposite side. So I give clear blame to him. But in the second one, what Asif talks about as well, that probably they realized that he's going to play that flick shot, and they had a fielder over there as well.
I still remember the last time I saw Williamson batting was in the semi-finals against India. That flick shot again in the on the square leg fence. But when we consider this wicket, this is not a smooth surface where we can play shots with the with the vertical bat, and the vertical bat also with a minimum degree facing towards the ball. That is when the ball is when the bat is tilted and not making the contact with the full face, and Williamson likes to play flick shots. This is obviously when we talk about a quality guy like Williamson, he got run out after 12 years of his international career. So when we talk about in the Williamson as a top 4 batter, you have to be in a very minute details to find out what he is doing recently, and recently he is playing those flick shots quite easily and managing them very easily. But this was not the wicket to play those things. This was the wicket where the fast bowlers are using their cutters very well and exceptionally well, I say. Second important thing, when the plan is executed by a bowler, that means he has got ample amount of stamina and the power and the brain to do those stuffs. When we talk about Australian test cricket, is about coming to the batsman every second delivery. There is no loopholes, there is no margin for the error as a bowler, and the complete spell is a complete package from the bowler. What I'm trying to say is, you have to be physically fit enough to bowl a spell of 4 or 5 overs and continuously do that throughout the course of the day. And this is where they're so special, because when we talk about different sides, they haven't got those quality bowlers or those physically fit bowlers who can deliver those long spell as the fast bowler. So most probably, again, full marks to Australia when it comes to the test cricket. Actually, they are the ones who are dominating the world right now.
But Kashif, it's interesting to see that that spin department relies on Nathan Lyon. And I think because he's been so successful, they've not looked at any other option. Even recently when he was injured, you know, that didn't bother them much right now. But the surprising element is that whenever he thinks that it's time, Australia will always have a backup that we've not seen so far.
When we, there's always a backup, and the process of creating that backup is very important. When we talk about a quality bowler in the ranks, just imagine going into the 90s era, there is always a Stuart McGill, and he always faced that dilemma because Shane Keith Vaughan is like the Shane Vaughan playing in the Australian side. When we consider these two guys playing again in the Sydney Test matches, because they prefer two spinners, Stuart McGill's average is far more better than the Shane Vaughan's average. But having said all those things, the amount of cricket Nathan Lyon has played, that means the other bowler has played equal amount of domestic cricket in their Sheffield tournaments. This is where the experience lies. You've been waiting for your turn, you've been waiting patiently, and when the turn comes, he is actually well prepared. Second important thing, the first class structure. Every now and then we see Sheffield cricket is being followed, or the structure is being followed by different countries across the globe. Recently, Pakistan wanted to have those 6-team structure that Sheffield Shield has got. So they have got a brilliant structure to produce some quality cricketers. And one more, the last but not the least, when it comes to the Nathan Lyon, he's a very good mentor of the spin bowlers too. And just recently, Glenn Phillips, when we talk about the Glenn Phillips, Nathan Lyon himself has said, every fine morning Glenn Phillips came to me and asked different tips of bowling those off spinners, and here he is with the 5 against us. So most probably they have got 2 to 3 names in the ranks, but still, when it comes to the Nathan Lyon, he still has got plenty of cricket left in him.
Absolutely. Sabir, interestingly, we're supposed to be, the part of the world which develops spinners. But so far, I think, like I said the other day, that instead of drop-in pitches, maybe get drop-in spinners from Australia at the moment. That's the case.
They have been successful because they are very consistent as far as their team selection is concerned. Their players basically are concerned. Yes, I mean there were times basically Shane Vaughan used to dominate in every country. But I mean after his retirement, I mean there were a couple of bowlers basically tried and tested, but I mean heads off to Australian management. They basically stuck with Nathan Lyon, and he's the man basically who performed in in every country. Just I already said that. I mean in England, Australia, in West Indies, South Africa, in New Zealand as well. So he's a basically remarkable bowler. Most of the times he has been sometime unlucky, didn't pick up the wickets. I mean, especially in the first inning. But I mean, he's basically a champion bowler of second inning. Picking up 119 wickets, especially in the fourth inning. It's remarkable to see. Along with Shane Vaughan, Muthaiya Muralidharan, Glenn McGrath as well. So you need to have a bowler, especially in the longer format, in test matches, who can give you wickets, especially in the fourth inning, because fourth inning is basically decides the result of the test match. So that is the time basically you need to have a bowler who can come out and pick up the wickets. I mean, no any Pakistani bowler I would find, especially in the top 10, who can be very lethal, especially in the fourth inning. So this also depends upon the system. Michael Hussey, David Hussey as well, couple of more Australian great batsmen, bowlers as well. They basically used to make their debut at the age of 25, 26. Unfortunately, in Pakistan, we basically gave debut test matches, ODIs too early to most of the youngsters, and their basically careers are being demolished, I would say, too early. We have a number of examples. I mean, consistency is very important. We cannot compare our basically cricketing structure with Australian structure. They have a high standards as far as quality of cricket being played, number of quality of pitches being prepared for them. Basically, that is the reason they are successful. They are not successful on Australian soil only. They have been, they have been winning test matches in England, in South Africa, in India, and Pakistan as well. So that is the reason they are successful.
Yes, Asif, you'd like to add to that argument. Yes, both of you would like to
allow
add.
me, Kashi,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you allow
yes.
me for a minute?
Yeah.
One thing, we guys are talking about the domestic structure, we're talking about the structure of the pitches, we're talking about the captain's planning and execution. Where is the nationalism? Where is, why we're not talking about that the players from the Australia, they're not saying that we aren't playing test cricket and we're going for the leagues. Do we found any test cricket from the Australia who has given this statement? This is the main point which I wanted to raise.
Yes, we move on to Kashif now.
So the technical aspect, when we talk about the spin bowling, you know, the most important aspect is when we talk about the Nathan line is a classical case of playing only the 4-day cricket or only 5-day cricket. He is not supposed to play any big bash league matches. So this is where a spinner is developed mentally and physically into something which is used in a 5-day match.
But my question would be, is that his choice or the board's? I think that's a very thorough element that we need to explore, that then both of them have decided that he doesn't want to play any league around the world.
We are talking about, Ahmed, we are talking about a developed nation, a wealthy nation. So most probably his choice is equal to amount of rupees, amount of dollars, Australian dollars,
yes.
Australian dollars he has got in his bank account. Because he's playing test cricket and he's sure about his role in the test cricket. He has got the contract, Australian contract.
Yeah,
He's been
absolutely.
the brand ambassador of so many things. So he's one side of his that skill set that is pretty much under control. That is the amount of financial he has got by playing test cricket. Second important thing is, this is his choice, because any player wants to play that sports because of the financial aspect, and that is where Australian cricket is so secure, because he is getting a fair share of amount. Second important thing is, it is the board's choice, because they are providing enough financial support to their test cricketers, that and enough test cricket to their test cricketers. They are not looking to those franchise cricket around the globe. This is where the board and the player are on the same line or the same page. When we talk about Pakistan, it's entirely the vice versa. So let's not go into that.
Absolutely, yes.
Ahmed, see, if we take some examples, that the monetary aspects or the financial aspects, I mean, fair enough, we do understand. But the question is that why Pakistani players, they don't think, or they don't talk about the nationalism. The nationalism comes first. For me, if you ask me, being cricket commentator, being cricket lover, being sports lover, I'll talk about Pakistan. My country comes first, and my financial and monetary aspects come second. So this is the important point. Yes, I do understand that when you're playing, you have a family, you have a large family in Pakistan, you have different things to do. But when you're playing for the Pakistan and you're wearing this green flag on your chest, then I think then nothing left. You're a Pakistani hero, and we want you to play for Pakistan. That's really important for me.
Well, I think it all boils down to the choices, because what Kashif mentioned, Sabir, we need to explore that element, that Nathan Lyon knows that he's secured and he's protected by the system. Over here, if a person wants to categorize playing test cricket, for example, I said it the other day, Abid Ali or Mohammad Abbas, for example, let's be honest, or Azhar Ali to some extent, what happens is that the system then completely ignores them because they're not in the limelight anymore. So we say thank you very much.
So exactly, this is what we basically talked about last week as well. The top management, PCB management, basically they have to prioritize. They have to especially give respect. Like we have saying that the players basically they have to respect the longer format. They have to give countries first. Recently in last couple of years, we have seen no any Pakistani cricketer said that he wants to play 100 test matches. So that is the reason, because the basically time has changed. Most of the leagues basically have basically given lots of money to most of the cricketers. That is the reason. I still remember Wahab Riaz and Mohammad Amar, when they basically they did not tour to Australia when Waqar Yunus was the bowling coach. Basically they said they had a such kind of a fatigue. Mohammad Amar, especially at the age of 27 years age, he basically declined that to play test matches. He basically said he basically has some kind of fatigue issues as well. So this is ridiculous to say, hear about such kind of a thing from a cricketer who has been playing for Pakistan. He has been given a chance, another chance, thanks to previous management, Shahid Afridi and lots of cricketers. But in spite of that, again he declined the offer. He didn't want to play test matches because he wanted to play some leagues, some T20s as well. Same case with Imad Wasim. Wasim has been given lots of respect. Again he basically retired too early. We have seen it all depends upon players and also with the PCB management. The case of Haris Rauf as well. Most of the people people are criticizing, but we have to see the strict actions should have been taken in 2001, 2010 as well, 2015. So then the players will realize the importance to play for Pakistan, to give priority to the longer format, to test matches as well. So it all depends upon the top PCB management.
Yes, Kashif, you were going to add something regarding this, the system protecting a player, or some of the examples that I gave as well for Pakistan particularly.
For me, the system of PCB is not well protected. So it's not something which is through the legislation. Every now and then we see changes in Pakistan Cricket Board. So what happens is, let's talk about any ABC management in the cricket board ask a player that you are our first choice bowler for test arena, for the test cricket. 3 months fast forward, the regime changes, and that the person who's been asked as the first choice test cricketer has been asked to play T20, domestic T20 or domestic one day, because they want to assess his performances, also his you can see fitness level. And that person thought, okay, I have skipped 3 quality months of playing cricket because I was asked to be as the #1 choice test player. This cycle is continuously going on. This was the case of Mohammad Abbas, because at that time he was genuinely asked to stay fit and remain cool and calm and for the test cricket of Pakistan. And when the regime changes, everybody started saying just because he haven't got enough pace, and so he's not fit to play for Pakistan, and now nobody cares about him. So this is where players are not well protected, and this is where they know they have got a very limited amount of time available for them to secure all the money, all the wealth, all the financials, because every now and then, the moment regime changes, the moment the administration, the PCB changes, most probably they'll be ended as the unlikely player to feature for the Pakistan.
Well, I also think that we've set the precedent wrong as well. I don't agree with the fact that the players should have a marketing share in the PCB as well. I mean, what you're doing, Asif, is that you're making them partners. Nowhere in the entire world, I mean, BCCI is the richest cricket board in the world. I don't see players being partners over there, although I still know that Virat Kohli is the biggest brand of international cricketer in the world.
Well, I think that first of all, as Kashif said, well-groomed and well-educated nation and developed nation, we aren't, to be very honest. We should agree on that we aren't developed nation, first of all. Secondly, that we don't take decisions, bold decisions, or either, see, when you take decisions, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. And this is the problem with the Pakistan Cricket Board, is that the Pakistan Cricket Board, we aren't sure about the chairman of cricket board, either he'll remain for the next 6 months or not. We aren't sure about the chairman selection committee, will he remain for next year or not. We have personal liking and disliking, and this is what I had said earlier so many times, that the Pakistan comes first, dear. When we will think about the Pakistan cricket, I think that now.
But
then
if I'm not wrong, Asif, you can correct me, if my memory serves me right, the same chief selector who was involved in the entire process of Haris Rauf is the same individual himself who was opting not to play test cricket for Pakistan at a point in his career.
This is funny, and I think it's a big joke for the entire nation, with the cricket, that these kind of decisions been taken by those personalities who are sitting down on the TV and making and taking and giving big kind of statements. For me, I think that you don't take it serious them, because I only think that when you're talking about Pakistan and you're not giving your personal, you keep citing your personal benefits or personal advantages, then you will take good decisions, first of all. The second thing is, Ahmed, you guys are talking about Haris Rauf. In the last series, he wasn't available for Pakistan. After that, we have taken a decision that he'll be banned for the next 6 months, and he won't be able to get any sort of NOC for the international leagues. Last night, a news came that he will be getting each and everything clear in next month, and the Pakistan Cricket Board is working on that. Why? Just because the franchise cricket is emphasizing and putting pressure on Pakistan Cricket Board that we want him in Pakistan cricket team. So this is the problem. You know, the franchise cricket is above than the Pakistan cricket. This is what happening. This is the practical thing. And we're not giving respect to the domestic cricket. We keep talking about this problem, that why Kamran Ghulam wasn't in the side when he had scored so many runs in domestic cricket, and we had given a chance to any other player, irrespective that what kind of pitches are those, because if you are not making good pitches, it's not the problem with the players. Players are performing, players are there to serve Pakistan, but you're not taking them. And you're taking your personal players. You're working on your personal agendas. So I think this is the problem with the Pakistan.
I mean, the beauty of the balance of power was such that a person who had scored the highest number of runs in a calendar year of Quaid-e-Azam Trophy had to go and play T20 cricket for a franchise to be selected in the Pakistan cricket team in the format which was completely alien to him. So I think that's what we did as well. But at the same end, we see a talented player who there are many other examples that we can quote as well. But Sabir, particularly, I think the fact is that for Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, England, India, we can talk about all of these models. Even Sri Lanka, for an extent, I think that they realized very early on that if they want to keep cricket alive in the structure, then you got to focus on Test cricket. And me, Sabir, and a lot of other people have also questioned the number of Test matches that we're playing as well in a year.
Absolutely, we are supposed to ask such kind of a question as far as FTP, who's going to sign FTP, who basically signed the previous FTP. We are supposed to play only 9 Test matches in a year. So, it's very disappointing to see, if someone wants to play only Test cricket, so he has to wait for 3 to 4 months to play just 2 Test matches. So, when PCB has to decide, they have to give priority to obviously to Test matches. And yes, I mean we have seen lots of Pakistani cricketers basically who consistently perform, especially in the domestic circuit. They basically didn't get a chance to play for the international level. I mean, we have a number of examples. You have talked about Kamran Ghulam. We basically always talk about Kamran Ghulam because he is the highest run getter. Twice in a I think twice. I mean, and Usman Salahuddin, Sami Aslam. There were lots of cricketers who basically perform nowadays. I feel sorry for Shanwaz Dani. A couple of more Pakistani players who are basically performing in domestic circuit, but they are not being I think selected as far as the Test matches are concerned. You basically select players on the basis of T20 format. Babar Azam, a couple of more Pakistani players. They are supposed to play, domestic circuit. We have seen Sarfaraz Ahmed, Saud Shakil as well. What about other players? I mean, they are basically highest, runs. They have made lots of runs in domestic circuit, picking up lots of wickets, especially fast bowlers, spinners as well. Again, they basically did not get a chance to be selected. I mean, Kamran Ghulam was selected against a series of New Zealand, but he didn't get a chance to play. We have a number of young talent in Pakistan like Umair bin Yusuf, Muhammad Huraira as well. These are the cricketers must play domestic circuit, and then they should be selected rather than players must be selected on the basis of T20 format.
Absolutely, and I think that the wrong selections for the wrong formats is also something that has troubled us. But then we now shift our focus to Ireland versus Afghanistan, where Ireland completely dominated the host in UAE. And like I said, that the victory was not just surprising, the first ever victory for Ireland as a test nation, but also the fact that it came on conditions which were supposed to be alien to them. So Asif, your friends from Afghanistan probably need to work on their technicalities and their domestic infrastructure that we talked about.
Well, Ahmed, first of all, congratulations to Ireland. Yes, I had a chat with a couple of journalists from Kabul, and I was talking to them yesterday when we were live on the Facebook, and asked this question that why Afghanistan is struggling in Test cricket. And to be very honest, the same answer, that their national players, their international players, they don't give respect to the domestic cricket. Even he has taken a couple of names that who haven't visited Kabul from last 2 years. They've been playing different international leagues or staying in UAE and playing their cricket. So I think that the same problem with the Afghanistan that Afghanistani batters, they're so good with when you talk about the shorter format, when T20, maybe in ODI, but when you talk about the 5-day cricket, Test cricket, they're struggling. Even Rahmanullah Gurbaz, their skipper, and Nabi, even if you take the other name, Ibrahim Zadran. So I think when the batters, yes, their fast bowling is also a department which requires some importance in Test cricket. They don't take any we had this discussion before that where is Naveenul Haq or their other fast bowlers, why they're not playing. So we got an answer that they're playing franchise cricket somewhere, maybe in Pakistan, somewhere other. So there's a problem with Afghanistan cricket as well. But though they are a young side, they haven't played enough Test cricket, they'll be getting some momentum in the upcoming time,
Well, Kashif, it was very pertinently put that day that, after seeing the result, we thought that probably the match is happening in Ireland. But then we realized, no, it's in the UAE. So, I mean, there was a visible struggle for the Afghani batters on conditions that was supposed to suit them the most.
It was supposed to, because let's put it that way, the way Asif said. They all wanted to play franchise cricket, and they've been playing franchise cricket simultaneously. Naveen is here, and most probably Rashid is unfit, so Nabi will be playing somewhere else, and so on and so forth. My important question still remains the same. Underdeveloped country, a psyche of a human being is he wants wealth, he wants recognition, and he wants power. Just put on these three three important aspects of life. All these three aspects have been covered by a cricketer through franchise cricket. The wealth, the power of being a quality player or a decision maker in the team, and simultaneously the recognition, the fame. So why anyone from our part of the world wants to play Test cricket? It's of no use for him. Imagine for the last 10 years, any single batsman or a bowler who became famous in this part of the world just playing Test cricket. We have seen the curious case of Asad Shafiq, so does Azhar Ali. Most probably the last two players who've been recognized as a quality Test cricketer have got retired in 2017 or 2018, that is Misbah and Yunus, and that is it. Fast forward 5-6 years, everybody is talking about the PSL, everybody is talking about the franchise cricket and T20 cricket, and that is it. So this again, coming back to the same old question, it's just not the case of players picking their best formats. It's about the players picking the right format for their survival, and this is right now franchise cricket.
So I must say that money matters. Simple as that.
Money,
I think that's
fame, and power. All three aspects have been covered through the franchise cricket, and all these three aspects are lacking when you play first-class cricket or the 5-day cricket sitting in that part of the world.
Absolutely. I will go towards an argument that we had before as well. But the fact is that, it's all about how much finances are you injecting into your system as well. Sabir, Ireland dominating Afghanistan, clearly a visible struggle for Afghani batters in this series.
Very good performance by Ireland. I mean, we basically discussed last week that there were some couple of cricketers from Ireland. They basically play some county cricket as well. They have a experience of list cricket, first class cricket as well. They basically played extremely well against England a couple of years ago. But it was disappointing to see such kind of a performance by Asian team. We were supposed to play like Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and also Indian batsmen. We were supposed to play better on, especially on a spinning track. But hats off to Mark Adair. He basically picked up 5 wickets in the first inning against 3 wickets in the second innings as well. Afghanistan basically played 53 overs in the first inning, then 74 overs in second inning. So in a 5-day test match, you basically played only 25 overs. But you should have played better, because there were a couple of good names, Nur Ali Zardran, Rahmat Shah as well. There were Hashmatullah Shahidi, the captain. They should have played better because they were supposed to play better these kind of tricks, because Afghanistan, they have been playing their home cricket, especially in UAE. They must know the conditions. There were not some extraordinary spinners in Ireland side. But it's a wonderful victory for Ireland, I would say, because who can forget Ireland's performances against Pakistan in 2007, 2011. They basically beat England as well in ODI World Cup in India. In 2009, I think they also beat I think Netherlands. So they are basically good side. Ireland. They are basically committed cricketers. I mean, especially in the bowling department, we have seen, their bowling unit basically they always perform extremely well against the bigger teams. I mean, so they really deserve such kind of victory from Afghanistan.
Yes, Asif, you'd like to add something.
Well, when we talk about Ireland, do remember that we had one match with them in past 3-4 years before, where Sharjeel Khan scored a stunning century, and I do remember that even Pakistan was struggling against them in the first innings. In the second innings, Pakistan played well and we got a victory. Same thing that Afghanistan, when you're playing in UAE, that you do remember that the pitches and each and everything is like a home ground and home conditions, because as the security situation in Afghanistan, so their cricket is happening in UAE and the Pakistan cricket was happening in UAE. So now if you are getting momentum and you're getting plenty of knowledge about the ground, about the pitches, and if you're not performing well, then something is wrong with your mindset.
Kashif, can we also talk about a very simple formula that now, because I think the concept of 100 is very, very easy in T20 cricket. A lot of hundreds are being scored here. But the conversion rate of batters in Test cricket is also very important. 100 is not something that will do it. You need to be able to convert them into big 150s and 200s now.
When you score 100 as a batsman, you feel mission accomplished. But when it comes to the Test cricket, it's a 300 where we can see either the match is saved or won by that team, the batsman who have scored 300. So this is a classic case of mission accomplishment. That is it. The basic human psyche. As a T20 cricketer, when we see a batsman scoring 100, that necessarily means that the team has scored around 180, 190, because he'll be scoring 100 of 60 deliveries, and the rest 60, the other teammates of his can score some runs. Most probably for me, when we talk about the T20 format of the game, it's a good format to engage the audience, but it's not the classic format to judge someone's skills. This is where we are lacking. We are talking about creating a cricketer who've been an entertainer for the crowd and to the cricket, but we are not talking about a skillful cricketer playing that game of gentleman game. So let's go for that entertainment, and let's not talk about the skill set of the player, because when we talk about the skill set, so many things do matter.
But I know that you're an individual who utilizes that skill set to hit big sixes for entertainment. So you've been able to combine that formula. But thank you very much, Kashif, K. Asif and Sabir, for joining us on Sports Extra.